So when I'm looking at property online, I don't really spend much time looking at pretty photos. Most people look at kitchens, bathroom, and all the staging. I'm usually just jumping straight to the floor plan because I want to know what potential there is with this property. Can I add value? Does it meet my buying criteria? Because I'm not going to go and see every single property that I like the look of online. So I'm going to just show you how to use some of the free tools to help you do some of your initial due diligence to determine, do I go out and see the property or do I eliminate it from my list? Okay, here's an example of a property which I found online. It's in Mount Wellington, Lund Avenue. This one's got an asking price of 885. Headline says sun-soaked with stunning views. Now, largely I'm going to ignore the pictures because they're just trying to bring me in emotively. This isn't a property which I'm living in. This is going to be an investment. So I want to understand, is there scope to add value? But by looking at the hero image, the first thing that pokes out at me is the cladding. So one of the checks that I want to do is understand, is this hardy plank or is it weatherside? Weatherside being bad because it's compressed wood, hardy plank being okay, it's just a fiber cement material. So as I skim through the pictures, I'm just trying to get a bit of a feel for what the property is. It's nicely staged. It doesn't look like there's somebody living there at the moment, so the vendor's either moved on or it's been a rental. So it's really just trying to draw me in emotionally. And the bit that I'm trying to get to quickly is the floor plan, because that'll give me an idea as to whether there's some unutilized space and whether there's scope for me to add value to this property. Right, here we are. There's nice indoor-outdoor flow. There's quite a large deck and patio area. And internally, there's quite a bit of scope here as well. Currently, this is only a 2-bedroom configuration. So there's two ways that I could approach this property. One being a Schedule 1 renovation, and I can increase the number of bedrooms, turn this into a 3-bedroom. I could also get a second toilet in there by reutilizing some of the plumbing here. Or if I wanted to go down a consent route, I might even use this laundry space to create an ensuite. So there's definitely room to improve the value and the rentability of this property. Now, I want to try and understand a bit about the vendor's circumstances. So I jump into homes. One of the handy links that they have is the council records. So when I looked at that cladding, what I do now is I just have a quick glimpse here and it says external walls fibrous cement. So that's suggesting that it is hardy plank, which is okay. So when I'm on site visiting this property, it's going to be one of the visual checks that I do to make sure that the cladding marries up with the description that's on homes. The other thing that it shows is the floor area. So this meets my buying criteria because it's over a certain size that I'm looking for. It shows you how much land that you're getting, and also the legal description so that you can figure out, is this cross lease, a unit title, freehold property? What's the legal description here? Now, I want to understand why the vendor might be selling. So there's some handy sales information, and I can see here that seems like the last sale was back in 2004, and they paid under $300,000 for it. So that means that the vendor's been here a long time. They've either lived here a long time or it's been a rental for them. Looking at the overall condition of the property, it tends to look more like an owner-occupier property. So if I'm going to visit the property, it's one of the things that I'm going to be looking for. And then it also shows how the CV's changed. So back in 2014, it was 450, then went to 670, jumped to 880 in 2021, and it didn't fall back much in 2024. This ticks a number of boxes for me. So now I am going to make the effort to go out and visit the property, do the checks, and to sense check the value add that I can make on the property. Most people, they will just skip past a lot of the stuff, but there's actually heaps of useful information in there if you know what you're looking for. Things like the age of the property, what the construction type is, the site details, and all that stuff like I showed you in the screen share. Then I'm thinking about the suburb itself, because a property might have potential, but does the location actually support the upside? Can you push the rent? Will it still be desirable after the reno? Because you can renovate any property, but what you can't renovate is the suburb. So once you start looking at property this way, you never scroll listings the same way again. Now, if you want to learn more tips, come along to our bus tour on Sunday, the 17th of May. There's a few seats remaining. Link is in the comments.